Hey, what's up? How are you doing? Thank you so much for being here, for clicking on this video. I am really excited to have a nice evening and tomorrow morning with you guys talking about my summer reading wrap up, what I've been reading. I haven't done like a sit down wrap up of all the books I've been consuming and going through and reading and really enjoying or not enjoying in a few months. So we have a little bit to talk about. I'm also very happy because I wanted to do a little bit of a celebration for National Book Lovers Day, which, if you didn't know, is on August 9th. I have had a very summer-filled day today. I've been in the pool, so my eyes are like shot. Like, they're really blurry. I was not wearing goggles for a very long time, so I've got chlorine eyes. I've never received a gift on National Book Lovers Day before, so I'm feeling very special because someone sent me a present. Burga sent me a package. Do you have the keys? I have loved Burga. I've been working with them for a long time now. I thought we could open this together. Burga is also sponsoring this video, if you couldn't tell, so let's do it. I'm really excited to see what's in here because Burga recently launched Kindle cases. It's like a book! Once upon a time, someone needed a break, so they held the key to their next adventure. Unlock your next chapter. There's a key. The first thing I'm seeing here is book bingo. Read a book set in a place you'd love to visit. Read a book published this year. Read a classic you've never read before. I got such a cute tumbler. It says one sip, one story at a time. Okay, I'm seeing this little package. They gave me 2 lids for it. This one comes with like a lid so you can put a straw in, or you can choose to like sip. Cause like when they only have one with a straw in it, I'm always scared when I bring it on the go that I'm gonna knock it over and spill it. So being able to switch, that's actually nice. Thank you. A very mysterious pack of dice with a little key. I'm thinking this must be for the book bingo, which is fun. So you roll, we'll have to do this. We'll have to roll the dice, see which we land on because they're numbered. Let me dig around for the Kindle case first. I found it. One Kindle case to rule them all. Forged for book lovers, bound in style and sworn to protect your greatest stories. This is the Kindle case that I picked for summer. I've been using my Kindle a lot more in the summer because I've been coming back to my hometown a lot and just taking it with me. This is really reminding me of the summer I turned pretty. I don't know, it's kind of the color scheme, and I am watching that right now from season 1. I reread book 1 of that series a couple summers ago, and honestly I've been wanting to pick up book 2. So this is really cute. I got the case with like a light creamy yellow background and then a bunch of seashells and starfish on it. I already have one of their Kindle cases on my Kindle and I really like it because it has one of the like straps at the back so you can just hold it with one hand. They also sent a couple phone cases. This is one of their tough cases. This is just like a nice white and green stripe with some sardines on it. This one I actually got for my brother. The one I picked for me, I personally really like their elite cases. I'm really excited for it because this one has a lot of texture. This one comes with the raised bezel and you can pick like what color you would like. So I got the white outline and then I got the golds trim. The inside is like very plush and soft, and then the case that I got is like dark chocolatey brown, but it's like textured. I don't know if you can hear that. Some ASMR, like a chocolate bar. The cases are also made on demand, so like they're not creating a ton of excess product. Like they don't actually start manufacturing the cases until you order them. I did also get a protective case for my laptop, and this one has sea turtles all over it, which I really love. If you guys are looking to give your Kindle case or your phone case or your MacBook case a little bit of a makeover this summer or whatever season it may be for you at the minute, Burga is currently having a 2-for-2 phone case sale. So if you and your friends are getting new cases or you and your family are getting new cases, they have a really good deal on right now. On top of all that, you can also get an extra 15% off with my code EMMAX15. But I think all that is left for us to do at the minute is roll the dice. I'm shaking them. Okay, here we go. What is that? Oh, 3. Okay, we landed on 3, which is read a book under 250 pages, which could be, honestly, the Summer I Turned Pretty book. Let's roll one more time. Maybe we can get 2. Maybe we can like fit in a book that's under 250 plus some other criteria. Okay, what is that? That is 6. Okay, read a book that was, oh my gosh, we did it. Read a book that was adapted into a movie or a TV show. That's perfect. I did tell you I knew a spot, so I'm glad you followed me all the way into the woods just to hear me talk about all the books I've been reading this summer. I hope you can hear me okay over the bugs and the crickets, the cicadas, the summer breeze. There's a ton of bumblebees. Let's just take a minute. If you see that I am covered in like a bunch of bites, it's because I tried to film this last night when the sun was setting and it was just way too buggy. First things first, to get things started, I did a reread of Howl's Moving Castle. I just love this book, man. I just love this book so incredibly much. This is such a fun reread for me, and this was actually my first time reading it physically. Obviously, I've known for a long time now that Howl's Moving Castle is just a place that is so just nice. It feels like getting into a warm bath. It feels like a warm cup of tea in the morning, and I loved it, and I enjoyed my time even more upon reread. I got to see so many things that I had missed when I was just listening to it. If you've not read the book by Diana Wynne Jones, it does differ a lot from the Studio Ghibli film, and I don't know, I think ultimately I prefer the film because I think this book is so visual, and there are so many like themes going throughout the novel and the film of like looking and being looked at, and the way that you look, the way that you perceive yourself, the way that you are perceived. I think that is so incredibly done in both, but I think the film, just being able to like see that, and specifically things related to Sophie's transformation, just does it a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like gives it that little bit more of an oomph. So if you've not heard of this, we do follow Sophie, who lives in this magical world called Ingary, where such things as like fire demons and wizards and magic very much exist. She thinks so little of herself. She's kind of always been overlooked. She's kind of always been the one taking care of everyone else. And so when a curse is placed on her, which transforms her into this very elderly woman, I think like 90 years old, is it? I don't know if they specify it. I kind of forget. She leaves her home. She leaves everything she's known. And she's like, okay, well, my life is kind of over now. Like I'm 90 and I'm going to go look for the wizard Howl, even though the wizard Howl is said to be this kind of just nefarious, awful person who eats the hearts of young girls. And so she stumbles into his castle. It was so nice on reread to see so much that I had missed, and like once you've read it once, it's definitely the kind that you can go back and like piece together so many other little things. I also forgot that a lot of this is set in Wales. I forgot that a lot of this is infused by John Donne's poetry, specifically his poem called Song, the one that's like, go and catch a falling star, get with child a mandrake root, tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age snow white hairs on thee. It is a lovely poem, even though it's about how like there's no women anywhere on earth who are loyal and they're all cheating. It's really beautiful. I did see a little mouse earlier, so maybe he's joined us. The next book that I picked up is definitely very, very different, and that is Two Sherpas by Sebastian Martinez Daniel. This I found at a bookstore in Toronto called Type Books. I think I got this when I was with Carolyn, and I only just read it this spring and summer months. So this is translated by Jennifer Croft, and the cover really, really pulled me in because I was like, is this a mountain? It is a mountain. Would I like really quickly pitch this to you? Mount Everest, tourism, or mountaineering tourism, and Shakespeare. If a man tries to climb against all common sense and every biological imperative a mountain of 8,848 meters, what would be the norm? That he would survive or that he'd die? This book takes place over literally a span of moments, maybe a couple minutes. When we have two Sherpas, they're only ever called the young Sherpa and the old Sherpa, and they're looking over a crevice, looking over the path that they were trekking up Mount Everest, because they were paid to take an Englishman, who's also just called the Englishman, up Mount Everest. And they're looking over the crevice at his body because he has fallen, something has happened, and the Englishman has landed completely splayed out, wrong angles included, and they are just looking down, considering his fallen form. From this one moment, we kind of slingshot back and forth into the old Sherpa's thoughts, into the younger Sherpa's thoughts. The younger Sherpa is a resident of Nepal. He's grown up there, he's in high school, and he's about to star in Julius Caesar. They're going to put on a performance of Julius Caesar by Shakespeare at his high school. It's an incredible insight into colonialism that spans across Rome, England, and Nepal. And talks about, like, first of all, how these two people are treated, how Sherpas in general are treated, how this, like, thing that has been so built up in Western culture of, like, ooh, we're gonna climb Mount Everest and it's gonna be really cool, like, what are you actually doing? And it uses Julius Caesar as well as, like, a tethering point back to so many other topics. I enjoyed my time with this, I would say. It's a quick read because the chapters are told in very, very short segments. Some of them are only half a page long. I really like the lens that was pointed on this kind of mountaineering. The writing really, really bordered, in my opinion, into insufferable precociousness. Had so many words that like I did not understand. I don't know, not to inflate my vocabulary or anything like that, but that's not really something I encounter very often. Way too overwritten. If the author had the opportunity to use a word that was 5 times the length, really, really obscure, it felt like intentionally obscure. Do you know what acephaly means? Apparently it is a term in medicine for an animal without a head, or habitude. That's a cool word. It is the state of being dull or lethargic. Even if you're saying that these words are as unknowable or as unconquerable as the mountain or something like that, I still have to go look them up in a dictionary. Do you know what I mean? I really liked everything they were talking about in terms of like the climbing and the Sherpas themselves. The tourist, no matter how sizable the fortune he pays, sees the Sherpa through a prism that condemns the Sherpas to objectification. The old Sherpa sees himself more as an artifact. In terms of classical economics, the Sherpa is neither demand nor supply, but rather merchandise, tradable goods, capital at most. We are tractors, the old Sherpa would say, machines capable of performing human tasks better and faster. We are animals, the tourists reduce us to animality. A lot to like in here, a lot to dislike in here, but I'm glad I read it and it's going to go back on my shelf. Might get around to rereading this. I did do a little bit of tabbing in this one because this is the kind of literature that I'm really looking forward to studying and diving more deeply into in grad school. I'm really getting warm. The next book that I read was unfortunately a disappointment, and I really did not enjoy my time with this, and that is The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. So just frankly upset. This one is set in post-Arthurian Britain. We're following this elderly couple, Beatrice and Axel. They're living in a village and they're not really being treated the best. Everyone has lost their like long-term memory of the past and what has gone on, especially everything with like the wars, because we're now in a relative time of peace. He's so much to say. Beatrice and Axel are like, you know what? I think we had a son. Like, I'm pretty sure you and I had a son together, and we think he went to live at a neighboring village. Why haven't we seen him? Why haven't we talked to him? Let's go find him. And so they start to plan and basically try to carry out this adventure, this like little road trip. It's up there, like walking the whole way there. I said that this book took such a long, debatably very dull time to ask, can we only live in peace with each other if we completely forget the wrongs we have done to each other? Just keeping hold or keeping account of the past make the present a place unfit for peace, which is an important question. I think this book asked a good question, and the answer in novel form came in a very, very dull, big, sluggish novel for me personally. I found this book extremely dry, extremely dry. I was bored out of my skull. This book is incredibly repetitive because everyone keeps losing their memories, so they keep saying the same things over and over again. They keep asking each other the same things. They keep speaking in the same way, forgetting things, and then obviously needing to find them out again. So it was really dull in that sense, and there would have been much cooler, I think, storylines or ways to execute the answer or the exploration of this question than what we got in The Buried Giant. Even though their repetitions are very much mirroring the fact that like people make mistakes, they don't learn from them, and then they do the same shit over and over again, it just was like, oh my gosh, can we move on? Also the fact that we have so many characters who keep forgetting things, it was kind of like you just have like Dory from Finding Nemo haunting you on every single page. Like, that is an important question, right? Like, do all of our minds have to collectively get absolutely wiped, zapped for us to get along? And that's actually quite a sad question. Is it better to completely obliterate the past and try to start again, or is it better to actually uncover what has been, even if it causes extreme damage and kind of mars the relationships that you have with people forever? But then once you have this knowledge, is it better then to kind of try and reconcile and work through it and make sure that those things don't happen again? Frankly, all I liked in here was the question being posed. Okay, that was it. Also this summer I got to do a nice 24-hour readathon with my best friend Carolyn. First up is Magnetic North by Jenna Butler. This is also called Sea Voyage to Svalbard. This was a recommendation from a professor of mine, and I was really excited to read this. I kind of thought, and I think this kind of makes it sound like it's a travelogue or a little bit of a nonfiction journal of the author's time voyaging on the sea to Svalbard. It's not. This is a book of poetry. It says, from the endangered Canadian boreal forest to the environmentally threatened Svalbard archipelago off the coast of Norway, Jenna Butler takes us on a sea voyage that connects continents and traces the impacts of climate change on northern lands. I felt like the writing was very sharp in terms of trying to speak it out loud and having so many sharp sounds, harsh consonants, none of it really flowing very smoothly. Like, that does bring to mind rock and ice, potentially, but as a reading experience, not fun. Like, off Spitsbergen, Fanshawe lifts its dolerite skirts ribbed with whalebone and eggshell. Guillemots rasp into the air in their thousands, adamantine hammer of sound that drills in somewhere behind the eyes. The land is contoured in a way that breeds sound, heaves over the water in a rich, acrid roll. Along the shoreline, sound clatters between the growlers, barks chips off the larger bergs. All through the afternoon, champagne tinkle of ice chips as slabs greet each other across narrow channels in the green. It's like very hard to say, and it gets very pointy when you try to read it and see it in your mind. Other times, it feels like when a word doesn't hit right or a sentence doesn't land well and it feels like kind of rubbing cotton balls against your mouth or like hearing styrofoam. It's a balancing act that doesn't always hit, equilibrium. One of the other books I read during the 24-hour readathon is 84, Charing Crossroad by Helene Hanff. Or not really by Helene Hanff, because this is another nonfiction, and this is a collection of letters between an American woman, Helene, and a bookshop in London. She starts writing across the pond to see if, the English booksellers can send her their copies, which are just so much better, in her opinion. And so she does, and she starts receiving copies of different things that she really, really wants to get her hands on. This woman has the most interesting, obscure reading list that I've ever come across. I think I knew 2 books that she requested. Everything else that she wanted, I had basically never heard of. Very, very obscure, kind of like ancient Greek, ancient Roman texts. She wants biographies of different poets. Much stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, you are like a very specifically educated kind of person to be requesting these books. So that was really interesting. And more on the just side of slice of life, daily living, it was really fun and heartwarming to see her life I think it's in New York, and just the differences between her and the owner of the store, who she starts to talk to and develop a relationship with, and all the other shop assistants there, is so heartwarming. It made me really upset. It always does when I read a book of letters that we just don't really send letters anymore, or at least I don't know anyone who does, and I would love to do that again because I just hate texting. I hate texting. I really like magic. It feels like magic now to write something down on a piece of paper and have it physically get to someone else and not receive instantaneous communication. She just wants the most specific things. We happen to have in stock Volume 2 of the Works and Life of Walter Savage Landor, which contains the Greek dialogues, including the one mentioned in your letter, as well as the Roman dialogues. It is an old edition published in 1876, not very handsome, but well bound. I just never saw a book so beautiful. I feel vaguely guilty about owning it. I house clean my books every spring and throw out those I'm never going to read again, like I throw out clothes I'm never going to wear again. It shocks everybody. My friends are peculiar about books. They read all the bestsellers. They get through them as fast as possible. I think they skip a lot. And they never read anything a second time, so they don't remember a word of it a year later. But they are profoundly shocked to see me drop a book in the wastebasket or give it away. The way they look at it, you buy a book, you read it, you put it on the shelf, you never open it again for the rest of your life, but you don't throw it out. Not if it has a hardcover on it. Why not? I personally can't think of anything less sacrosanct than a bad book, or even a mediocre book. So that is 84, Charing Crossroad. Another nice, short, sweet, kind of like a different read that I really truly do recommend as well. One book that is probably the most perfect for summer out of all the ones I've read has been The Grace of Wild Things by Heather Fawcett. I really, really love Heather Fawcett. She's one of my favorite middle grade authors. The Grace of Wild Things is a retelling of Anne of Green Gables, which I was a little bit skeptical about. This is like Anne of Green Gables if it was filled with magic and a little bit of fae, just a little bit. I think Heather Fawcett's always got to have a little bit of that whimsy in there, and also witches. Magic, fae, and witches meets Anne of Green Gables. Yes, this is still set on Prince Edward Island. We do still follow a young girl named Grace, and she is an orphan. She's living in an orphan house. She finds out that she is a witch, she has certain powers, and so she takes it upon herself to leave the orphan house and go and basically just cling on to this old grumpy witch in the woods who really wants nothing to do with her. It's very much Marilla, and it's about their relationship. It's about how Grace like basically signs this. There's a lovely looking grackle, which is fun because if I can just skip ahead for a second, Grace also has a familiar, and her familiar is a crow, and he is a crow who is obsessed with poetry. Like, they can understand each other, and he always wants Grace to read him poetry, but only poetry about birds. Grace ends up making this bargain with the witch because the witch does not want her in her cottage in the woods, does not want to take Grace on as an apprentice, but she's like, yo, if you can complete all 100.5 spells in my grimoire, if you complete them all, you cast them all, I'll take you on as my apprentice, and if you don't, you have to give me your magic, and you also like have to leave. You can't stay in my cottage. So, hello. Do you want to go back on the leaf? Yeah? Okay, bye. I love Heather Fawcett's way of describing things, like the little descriptive sentences. We'll just have like a shot of really beautiful description, and it's just such a perfect, it's just, the book looks like this to me. The book looks like this to me, and it's really nice. I really, truly do recommend The Grace of Wild Things. So a quick mention to these two books because I've talked about them a lot in a couple other videos, but I read Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole, which is book 2 in this fantasy series that I'm just eating up at the minute. I'm going to be starting book 3. I don't know. I keep saying I'm going to be starting it soon. Read Better Than the Movies. Really love that. That one is also a fantastic summer book. And then finally, the last one that I finished this morning actually, and I loved this to bits and pieces. I just really, truly adored this. I'm in a huge Star Wars phase at the minute. It's frankly all I want to read. It's all I want to watch. It's kind of taking over my life right now. But this morning I finished my first Star Wars book that I've read since I was a kid, because as a kid I had some Star Wars novels, and sadly I think I donated them, which I'm actually really heartbroken about. This is a book about Count Dooku from Star Wars. So this is by Cavan Scott, and this is actually not a novel. So I found this through my library, and it is a performance. Like, it is basically just a scripted full cast performance with music, with sound effects, and it's great. Like, you can buy a book of it, but the book is just the script for the audio production. It's called Dooku Jedi Lost. Yeah. So this was fantastic. This was so immersive. So immersive. It felt like I was watching a movie. This is all about Count Dooku, who appears only in the prequels. Is this correct? But it's about his life. It's about him growing up. You learn just basically his whole backstory. The book actually begins with the whole thing is kind of through the perspective and looking back in memories of Count Dooku's like apprentice, kind of in the present timeline of the novel, Asajj. So if you want like Ventress content, she's in here. She's kind of narrating the thing, and she's learning about Dooku's backstory, and it's just really good. I really enjoyed it. It has the politics that I love in Star Wars. The prequels are probably my favorite Star Wars era, just because I really love the questionable things that the Jedi do, this imperfect body trying to be perfect, and I love the politics of like the Republic, the separatist states. Like, I just love all of that. If you like Star Wars, I really recommend this book. I frankly am incredibly biased when it comes to this. Frankly, I am just grateful to have any kind of Star Wars content, except for the sequels. Okay, don't give me that. Give me any Qui-Gon Jinn content, happy. That is that one. That's what I've been reading this summer. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you've been reading this summer, and this was nice to sit in the garden. I hope you're having a really good day. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thanks for hanging out. Ciao.